tardes a todos. Me alegro que hayan encontrado el camino arriba al cerro después del almuerzo. La charla la voy a dar en inglés porque me cuesta menos en estas cosas técnicas. So switching over to English now. And so my talk is about like decoupled Drupal commerce with React Native. We have like this little maybe about us, like I was already on stage here this morning, like saying maybe a little bit, like, but as you can see, like here's our team, like also in Cornell, like from last year, and yeah, we have like an office here and another one in Iceland where we have a lot of clients, and also like this showcase that I'm going to be presenting is like from Iceland as well. So if you have questions, just ask them right away if you like. If not, like in the end of the session, there's also going to be time like for Q&A. So the company like we did this project for is like Eldum Rétt, which is Icelandic and means like cooking right. And what they do is they deliver food boxes. So like every week you have like changing menus. And you can subscribe or just buy a certain menu, and you get like a box with all the ingredients and the cooking recipes to cook at home. Everything super fresh, high quality, and basically targeted to private households. The guy here in the pictures is the boss. I'm not sure if he usually delivers. So their business model is like to have like extremely flexible and varied offerings for different target groups. As you can see here, like we have like these food packages, like there's like a lightweight one, and the classic, and the vegan, paleo, healthy one, and one that's without fish. So they create the recipes themselves. They have been like in business like for 5 years. Actually, they had an anniversary like just a few days ago, like 5th anniversary, and they serve like or like they sell like thousands of food boxes per week, which is like quite big, like for Icelandic means, like with a population with just over 300,000 people, you know, they have like a good market there. Yeah, so they started on Drupal 7, but it was time like to move over to Drupal 8 because they are getting some competition in the local market, and they wanted their product like to be more flexible, to have more possibilities, like to sell things like to their clients, and so they came to us, and we started this project like roughly a year and a half ago. So there's like similar companies operating in Spain. I've Googled them earlier, and it's like Vetaca and Food in the Box. Like probably you have heard like of HelloFresh or something. They do this the same model. They have like a revenue yearly like of around about like 1.3 million euros and like a 40% year-over-year growth. So this is something that's like, I wouldn't say fashionable, but like people really like this, like not to have like to go to the supermarket and think what you need to buy and to cook. So they prefer like to get like this to their home and then cook from there. So like the first point is already done. So we're just going straight over to the app. I'm planning to do this a little bit like demo mode, just so you can see like what this is really about. And so we go straight into the app and with demo. So I have here locally installed the app, just like quickly log out. I'm gonna come to the technical aspects of the app afterwards, but it's a React Native app. It's in the App Store in both, and basically like you use React like for building your application on top of like sort of like base libraries that are then native to the platforms. So you can see here, I can just log in. The backend is like the Drupal backend, like of the shop, right? And here I have like I have my dashboard where it tells me that I don't have any orders here, but if I had orders, they would like appear here in a list, like with the status of delivery and so forth. What we have here as well is the available meal kits. So you can see here like there's a fruit box, and then we have here like, for example, like the classic box. And if we go to the detail, we can see like, okay, this is like good for 2 or for 2+ or 4 people. Yes. And the box includes like meals for 3 days. This is like, depending on my postal code, it will tell me like if they deliver or like if I have to pick up or something, things like that. And I could also then from here go and buy it. Though the buying, as you can see, like if I press here, opens like an in-app browser like to the website as like the whole buying functionality is like not yet in the app. But you can see here, like it's pretty seamless. Like you get automatically logged in to the website, and like you can just like order here, and then you just go back to your app, and everything's fine. What's most interesting for the clients that use the app is obviously like the menus. So you want to know sort of like what the recipes are, right? And so we get here like for the week 20, that's like now, I think. You get like for each of the packages, you get like the recipes of the menu. So for example, here in the classic package, like we have like a salmon recipe and some other stuff, meatballs and things. And we can switch like a little bit into the future, and can see like what the upcoming week then will bring. And it also tells me like until when my deadline for ordering this food box is. So every menu that I buy, then I automatically get like access to the cooking instructions for the recipes. So if I go then here to the recipes, I can see that I have bought a few, right? And if I go here into detail for the crunchy beef tacos, for example, you see that like it takes like, I don't know, 10 to 15, no, total time like 10 to 15 minutes or something. It's a demo content, so. And tells me like what the ingredients are that I need to use. It tells me like the calories, it tells me the proteins and the fats and everything. So the nutritional information, it tells me like what ingredients I have to own, like for example salt and pepper and things like that. And then I can just go and say like, okay, start cooking. And then ask me like, so for how many people are you cooking, right? And I get to say like, okay, I'm cooking for 2 here. And then I come over like to the cooking instruction steps. And here it tells me like how much of each ingredient I will need here. And then I go into a step-by-step cooking instructions. So these are like this is the sort of like the preparation step, and then you can see that I'm moving here. You see it on top, like step 1 out of 5, right? And here they can. I mean, this is all. They can all like this is all in the Drupal backend. I can show you later on, like how they work with the recipes there. We support also here like media images, media, so it could be video or image for the steps. And then on the last step, you can rate the recipe, and yeah. So that's it. We have a notification system that will show notifications. We can send push messages to the app, and so like they have the possibility to be really close to their customers and keep a good contact. So now I'm going to switch over like to the website itself, so you can see a little bit like how that looks. So it's rather simple, not much distraction, and if you then go here, you have like the meal kits that they offer, and you can like navigate into the future, like to see like the recipes for the next week, and you can just like look around here like for the different packages, like what kind of menus you will get. The different meal kits are here, so they have like here the paleo and like all those I already told you about, and if you then go to the detail, you can obviously buy them, and you can change like the amount of people you want to have the menu for, right? And here you will see again also like the upcoming menu, and you can then have two possibilities. You can like start a subscription, right, for every week or every other week, or you can just like add it to your cart and buy it directly. So here on the website we use classic Drupal rendering, but we also use like React components. Like for example, like this flyout cart here uses like the cart API, but we plugged in like a React frontend to it. If we would log in, I can see I'm already there. Exactly. So I can see here like where it's like going to be shipped. I can pick my payment method, right? And then I can just like buy it. I'm not going to buy it now. But like on the next step, I think it's fine. Yeah. So on the next step, I can actually pick my shipping options, right? So because we said like depending on your postal code, they have different delivery options. They don't like deliver to the home like in the whole country, but like in the capital areas they do deliver, and you can just then pick like when you want to have it. You could have it like sent home like on the 21st of May. Or like you can pick it up on the 20th or 24th, like on a different place there. And what else? We have a notification area here, and I can obviously see all my things. Like I mean, this would be like my subscriptions. I don't have any, and so forth. If we go now here to the backend, you can see that we have like nice stuff here. So like the recipes, for example, right? Recipes can be more complex than you might think, because like a recipe like requires ingredients, and depending on the amount of people you're cooking for, you also need to recalculate like the ingredient amounts that you're going to be using. But sometimes you just have a tomato and you can't like have half a tomato, right? So then you can like add exceptions that, for example, like for 2 people would be 1 tomato, for one person would also be 1 tomato, because they don't deliver half tomatoes. So we can just maybe quickly look into a recipe. Then I can see here directly like the rating of the recipes. These are like upcoming ones, so they're not being used yet. So latest menus, not available. And if we go into such a menu, we can see that you can add like tons of information about it. So you can see like for what meal kits it's available, what sizes are available. You can have categories like how hard is it to cook, and who's the chef, and so forth, right? The prep time and the total time, and like if votes are there, and all kinds of things. Then we have like the ingredients. So we say like, okay, we have here 300 for the default size, which is then 2 in this case, right? We have like chicken, right? 320 gram of chicken, and we can say like if this is something you need to own or not. Okay, and the recipe would then look like this. So a little bit mobile here. Right, so what you saw in the app is basically what you get here as well. You have the chef, and you have like the ingredients and the nutritional info, and like the ingredients that you're using, and you can also then do the cooking instructions on the website itself, right? So I'm cooking for 2 people. This recipe is only available for 2 people. We have the amounts that are required, right? And I think they haven't put any cooking instructions yet for this recipe. But it would be sort of like the same thing that we saw like on the app. So I think I can do maybe one more thing that is kind of cool, and I hope it works. Close the app, and then I'm gonna, in the Drupal backend, I'm gonna create a message. And now I just need to find the right mobile number. And I choose like a messaging scenario. In this case, I would like to send a push message. And I also wanted to show it like on the user's activity screen. So I mean, most of these messages are just like automized messages that like are triggered through the system, right? But like you can like also do like manual stuff here. So never mind now the white screen. But hopefully, yeah, you saw that my device here got a push notification from Riyad like, hi, Drupal Camp Spain. Had some screenshots, like, I mean, this is like how it looked like here for the, you can see it here, like if you have like orders, like this one is processing, right? So it hasn't been delivered. So technology behind the thing. So we have the React Native app for Android and iOS. So we use GraphQL for talking to the backend, the Drupal backend, right? And for React, you use then an Apollo client for handling like these connections, like and the data handling like with the backend. We have simple OAuth for authenticating the users against the Drupal backend. We use like the Jest framework for testing, real like end-to-end tests that happen like sort of whenever you commit commit and push code. It will run all the integration tests to see if things are still up and running. And we use then Fastlane, which is also like a tooling framework for for deploying to the app stores. So technically, like it takes like exactly one command, and the new version is like pushed like both to Android and to the Play Store and to the iOS store. So I find this quite fascinating, like the whole part of GraphQL, and probably many of you have already looked at this, but some of you probably haven't. So I just want to quickly show you how this looks like. So the GraphQL module is like a zero configuration module. You just turn it on, and it knows the whole entity structure of your Drupal installation, right? And in this case, for example, in this example, I'm querying the current. So just to show you, like on the app quickly, what we're querying here. So we're querying here like these three menu weeks. So like they're called schedules, right? So it's the schedule for this week and for the next week and for the week before and such. So we're trying to figure out like what are the three current, or like what's the current week, and like from there we just take the week before and the week after, right? So we always have like when you go on this screen, you will always have like the current menu like at sight. So what we do here, we say like we do an entity query on the schedule, right? And we say like, so the buyable start needs to be like smaller than or equal than today plus 7 days, or greater or equal than the buyable end date compared to today minus 7 days. So we get like 3 weeks always like of visibility, right? And so we then order by ID, and then we get entities back, right? And these are of the type schedule entity. And the beauty about this whole thing is that it just knows everything, all the fields. I have autocomplete, you know, I could just go here and say like, I don't know, what's the entity label, right? And then I just run this query, and it goes, and it gives me like JSON back with exactly what I asked for, right? So like the one that we just added, like the entity label, you know, is like here the the week 2019 of the main menus, right? And then we have the week 21 and the week 22. And I get like the dates for like when they go on sale and when they are taken off sale again, because like they always are sold 1 week and then comes the next one. Yes. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Yeah, sorry. I'm just gonna try to. Yeah, it's difficult. But so this is what the query looks like, right? So schedule entity query. So it's like GraphQL just knows like everything. You know, there's like all the entities, all the menus, all the nodes and whatnot, right? And you can just then like really easy query exactly the data you need. And the response is also just structured data entities, right? And so if you look at this now, like this query here, when we go then into the app development part, right? We have like here, for example, like a menu list, and at some point we say somewhere, I think it's not a good example. It also gets like the items. here. So we import like something called like get schedule here, and this get schedule comes from this query file where we just have like the queries in, and as you can see, this is exactly the same stuff. So here we're just querying for meal kits, right? And here for schedules. Like here, for example, we're querying a view that already has like things prepared. Yeah, so this is a pretty nice way of querying complex data in a Drupal system. You can also like define these queries and sort of make them static, and then you would just call them by an ID, because otherwise you would, in theory, allow like people with access to make very complex queries that could just also like stress too much the backend. Like the other nice thing about the GraphQL, it uses completely like the entity or like the caching mechanism of Drupal. So everything that comes out here is like cached like Drupal does it in the perfect way. Mm-hmm. So and on the Drupal and commerce side, we've built like a lot of cool functionality on top of the commerce framework, right? Like such thing as like flexible meal kits. So you could just also say like I could exchange one recipe by another one because like I don't like how it looks, or like I prefer something else, right? We can have flexible schedules, so like the main schedule is just always like from Wednesday to Wednesday to Wednesday, but like if they have like specials or something, they could just also have like a schedule that goes like from Tuesday to Thursday, just once, or like repeating, or things like that. We have like a pretty advanced subscription system that allows you to subscribe like to one or many meal kits. And you can choose like by like having weekly subscription or bi-weekly subscription. You can skip the subscription, like you can skip a certain week, right? You can pause your subscription, you can reactivate. So like a lot of cool stuff like for the end user, allows like a lot of flexibility. And obviously we have then recurring billing. So whenever like a schedule is due for billing, like a subscription is due for billing, you know, we do like a big billing run like overnight, and like all the subscriptions get like billed automatically. Obviously there's like dunning also implemented, like if like for some reason, like for example the payment fails and things like that, and retries and yeah. So what it also has, it's smart packaging. So Commerce 2 like allows like to sort of like put your items into packages, and you can define sort of like the physical dimensions of a package, like let's say a box, right? And then there's a calculation happening, like how many boxes do you need like to fit all the items and things like that. It also allows to, for example, have things that like if you have like in your cart you would have like a meal kit that only delivers on Tuesdays, and you have another meal kit that only delivers on Thursdays, right? Then on checkout you would then get all the options like for each meal kit, like when you want to have it delivered, you can have them delivered all together and things like that. And we have like an advanced notification system, like the push message I just sent, right? We use a service that is called Infobip, and Infobip provides like two things. Like one, a platform with something called like Omni messaging, where you sort of like, I would like to show that because it's pretty cool. So here on the Drupal side, we have something here called scenarios, right? And you can just define new scenarios, and they will be like provisioned into the Infobip backend. And you can do things like this. You can say, Okay, so the flow is like the follows, right? First, we send an SMS, and if that can't be delivered, then we send an email. And the same we can do with push messages and and all channels like Facebook Messenger. And so we don't take care of what message gets delivered in the end. We just say this is our preference, right? And then Infobip takes care of trying the first option, and if the first option can't be delivered, tries the second option, and so forth. The other thing that Infobip provides is a native library that you integrate in your app. So, but that is on the Android code base, one library, and on the iOS code base, another library. React Native comes on top of this, right? And that connects then to the messaging gateways from the iOS, from Apple and from Google. Yeah, roadmap. A product like this is obviously never finished, and they need to keep innovating. They have a big advantage because they already deliver to the house, right? So why not just sell groceries as well, for example, right? If you're selling food packages and you're just sending someone over to deliver this every week, why should people not just also buy whatever else they need, you know? So on the roadmap we have interesting things like fully flexible meal kit configurations, where you can just basically you have 3 slots for recipes, and from available options you would then just drop 3 in, right? Sell groceries along with the meal kits. That's going to be sort of the next big thing that we're going to be implementing with them. Then on the app, we already have a prototype for this. Is cooking timers, because obviously if you're cooking and it says you can then define on the recipe that on step number 3, for example, you're supposed to boil the rice for 20 minutes, right? And then we just provide a button, start timer, right? And then the moment you just put your rice in, you click the timer, and then you can just continue doing the other stuff, and you get an alarm when your rice is finished cooking. What we're also looking into is things like voice integration, for Alexa and Google, because obviously there it would be really nice to be able to order through Alexa, or to also have cooking instructions through voice commands, right? Next step, and then reads for you now chop the onion or something. So I think we are going to be doing a lot more cool stuff in this project, and so this gives me material for at least 2 or 3 more sessions in upcoming events. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.